if this model was actually a production model, not just something you're doing for fun, the approach would be about the same, but you really need to take the extra time, understand your curves, your splines, and make these judgment calls, because you don't want to produce a bad part or a bad surface. So in this case, the way the curvature worked out, that's fine with me. I'm not designing this thing, I'm just trying to get it to look about right. So what we want to do from here is I'm actually going to make a helper surface just like we did before. And this 500 millimeter dimension that I've been adding to lines in these surfaces, it's really only there because I want a sizable surface to look at. It doesn't need to be that long. There's no magic, in the 500 number in this model. It's just something so that you guys can see that surface there. It's easily visible for you. And on the bottom here, we're going to have an interesting event happen. So what we want to do, we're going to use a helper surface here as well, but we need to be a little creative. So on this mid plane, I'm going to go ahead, start a sketch, and I'm going to draw a line here and make this line tangent. I'm going to add that 500 millimeter dimension, but I'm actually going to select that line, and then I'm going to just right click on that edge, and you can see here we have some options between these two. I'm going to go ahead and add an equal relation. So the extruded length of that surface is going to drive this line. I didn't have to apply any dimensions, have any extra references in this model. On that mid front plane, I'm going to go ahead and add a sketch as well. Draw a line. I'm going to make this line equal in length to that one, and I am going to apply a tangent relation with this edge. And if we actually look at this thing from the back, these angles are close, but they're not the same. If you remember, this was 8 degrees, this was 10 degrees. So in order to get the curvature that we want here, we needed to have these two different lines. I'm going to do another boundary surface, select that edge. You can see here, you can actually see the difference between the two surfaces. Now selecting this one, it's actually going to blend from here to here. It's going to twist along that path. And you can actually go in here and you can give a direction vector reference, and you can drive the surface some more. Now because this edge right here is going to be used in our surface, that's going to drive the direction here. So I'm not going to add any extra, any directions or anything like that to this surface. And then what we're going to do is a filled surface. I'm going to select the 3 edges that we have and that sketch. And if we look at this, I'm going to grab that, I'm going to add a tangent relation, and you can see here automatically we have added quite a few more lines in here. And what this is actually the resolution of this surface. These other edges, I'm going to go ahead and add that tangent relation. And again, this is because these surfaces are essentially flat. They're defined by these straight lines on the edges. There's no real curvature for us to match, so we don't need to worry about curvature. But one interesting thing, if you actually watch this surface here, this last edge we're talking about was this surface on top. When we change that to tangent, you're going to see the slight change in that surface. And these small changes are the ones we really want to watch for. Let's see, we've got surface extrude, that's going to be helper 3, and boundary surface, we're going to call that helper 4. And I'm going to hide both of those because we don't need to see them. And I'm going to go ahead and save it first of all, and turn this curvature on. Alright, now you can see some things are happening here. We've got a little bit of discontinuity here between our curvature. That right there, I mean, that's acceptable for what we're doing. If you were actually trying to do any kind of real surfacing for some sort of production part, this is going to be an area of concern. And what we want to do, let's actually go back in here. let's edit this and let's look at some changes. Instead of tangent, let's give that a curvature relation, see if it makes any difference. Nope, see, I mean, it's the same. You notice we still have this jump here, so that didn't make any difference for us. Let's change that back to tangent. Let's go to this edge 3, which was our boundary surface. Let's give that a curvature relation and see. All right, now you can see instantly it changed the resolution in that direction to be a lot higher. Now, if we look at that, little extra color that was down here has gone away, and this right here has spread out a bit. Let's go back in here, edit this, and let's check this one here. Let's apply curvature to that one and see what happens. Okay. So now we're getting some very interesting readings here from this curvature analysis. If we look at this thing from the side, I like this a lot better. You know, there's some funniness going on right here, but this transition to me looks a lot better. And up here, now we have this very abrupt change between these two surfaces. And like I said, it depends on what you're doing with the model. You look at this, it's not the end of the world. And really what we're going to be concerned about is when we mirror this thing across the right plane, what it's going to look like. And turn curvature off, save this real quick, and let's mirror this thing. Mirror that body, mirror that body. And I'm going to do tangent edges are removed. So if I go ahead and knit all 4 of these surfaces together, we're going to see those tangent edges removed. Now if you look at the reflection here, it's very consistent across this back edge. When we had a nice straight surface, we didn't have to worry about any extra curvature that we were adding. When it gets here, you can see that it kind of breaks up a little bit. Now of course we're talking about a model view here with lights on, but you can definitely rotate this thing around, and you can almost see like a flat spot, you know, on the back of this thing right here. And if we turn the curvature analysis back on, you can see the color there, and that's the flat spot that we're seeing. We go back in here as surface fill, and let's change a few things. Alright, so that's tangent. Let's go ahead and put that back to curvature. So we have all 3 at curvature, and let's see what we get. Turn the curvature analysis back on. Alright, it's essentially the same thing. So in this case, if we were trying to create, you know, a extremely nice surface, then we would probably want to go back. We would look at our curves. We'd probably change this from a tangent relation. You know, maybe rethink our helper surfaces. Maybe add a helper surface over here. But what we're going to do, let's put all these back to tangent and look at the results again. Alright, so we have all these at tangent. Had all these at tangent. Apparently my model has disappeared. There we go. Alright, so we had all these at tangent to start with, and we're a little a little interested to see what the results were going to be. And if we look at this, we can actually see that this tapers off and blends quite nicely into this different radius of curvature. And it's nice all the way along the back here. And this transition, it's a little, it's a little scattered in places, but overall that's really not that bad. And we turn this back off and we look at our reflections and our light, how the light hits the surface. And I like that a little bit better than that big flat spot back here. So I mean, that's using the same curves, the same edge definition, and just playing around with tangent as opposed to the curvature relationship here for the edge boundary. And then you get 2 very different results. So just understand that you need to realize what you're applying here and the results. And I strongly urge you to use this curvature relation, or this curvature analysis on the Evaluate tab